Hello friends and family, this is Megan Moon, aka Talent 미국 사람입니다. And you guys know I've been in Korea for 14 years now. Although I love life here, there are some things that I find myself missing from the USA. Not even just from USA, I would say missing from Western culture. There's also some things that I took for granted in the USA, didn't even realize that they had a huge impact on my mental health. So let's dive right into it. So let's start off with the lighter ones, the less deep ones that we can just get right through. Chick-fil-A. I would like a crispy chicken sandwich with barbecue sauce. The Chick-fil-A barbecue sauce is the best one, okay? Come at me. The last Chick-fil-A sandwich I had was probably, holy crap. I have not eaten that sandwich in 13 years, and it's funny because if I had it now, I probably wouldn't like it. There's so many things that I had when I went back to America after being in Korea that I didn't like anymore because they tasted too chemically or like too not fresh or kind of fake tasting. But I know for sure that waffle fries I will always love with the barbecue sauce. They're heavenly. And the next one on another lighter note is just DIY culture. I feel like in America, when something needs to happen in the house, our first instinct is to DIY it. So there's many places you can go to buy DIY stuff. Hobby Lobbies. Everywhere. And you could even go to Walmart and get a decent supply of like DIY stuff. But here in Korea, outside of like places that you go to specifically for like making DIY bracelets, DIY phone cases, people just in their daily lives don't do it. If you want to order it online, you got to wait a week or so. You can't just be like, you know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to customize this. I'm going to paint my drawer. I'm going to paint my walls and just go somewhere and pick up some paint. You gotta really hunt for the stuff. Or there might just be one spot in Seoul that has all the stores. They tend to do that. Like if you wanna get a specific thing, all the stores that have it are lined up together. So you got to trek to go get it. Now on to some deeper things that I miss. The first one being small talk, warm smiles from strangers. All those things that we just tend to do in the US, like if you're at the grocery store, right? And you're scanning your groceries, you can just have basic conversation with a person, you know? They're just, yeah, girl, did they? Really? Oh my God. Okay, have a nice day now. So if you are a tourist in Korea and you're in the touristy areas and you look kind of lost, people will come up to you and ask you, you know, do you need help and whatnot? But once you're here and living and you're just doing basic things like going to the bank, the grocery store and doing X, Y, and Z, there's not warmness. There are people who ask if you need help, but it's not as warm. And sometimes they don't even look at you. They're just doing what they're doing with their back turned. 도움 필요하시면 말씀해 주세요. Literally over and over again. 도움 필요하시면 말씀해 주세요. Everybody just like mind their own business and they just seem overall a bit more down. So sometimes you get the feeling that you're surrounded by people, but like not connected with anyone. Certain like small courtesies like please, thank you, and pleasantries and whatnot. A lot of Korean people when they visit Western countries are pretty surprised by it because they're just like, wow, the people are really warm. Like they talk to you, they seem to genuinely care. They ask you how your day is and whatnot. And that's not something that you necessarily get in Korea as someone who lives here. You guys know it's been, what, 2 years since we moved to Paju? And just now at my gym, maybe I would say like 2 or 3 months ago, did people really start talking to me? Even if I like went and tried and like talk, people are just kind of like, why is she talking to me? Only after 2 years can I go to the gym and like talk to people and know them now. And that is wild, especially because in Korea, people tend to work out at the same time. So it's the same group of people that you see in the gym every day. I feel like in the States, if that happened, the same people we see all the time, maybe at most a month, then there would be someone who you would have small chat with, like, hey, you know, where are you working out today? Oh, I'm doing my shoulders. Oh, cool. And then if you're doing the same workout, possibly do it together, right? But not here. And this is something that I realized just recently when my husband, the kids, and in-laws were at a theme park. We went to Legoland. And you know, at theme parks, when you're waiting in line, Western people will often talk to each other in lines, especially if there's some sort of common thing that we see. But you don't really get that in Korea. Or if you do try and talk to someone, they think it's a bit awkward, like, germs, why is she talking to me? And the thing that's so weird to me is when kids wave at people here, they don't wave back. And this actually sort of irks the hell out of me because Ruben is very social. So when Ruben sees people outside, he's like, annyeong, and he looks at them, smiles at them, and then they're just like, and even other little kids, it's so weird to me. There'll be a kid who's like 5 years old. We'll be in an elevator or something. And then Ruben's like, annyeong. Literally, this one kid said to his dad, like, Dad, why is this kid talking to me? And then the dad was like, oh, he's just very friendly. You should say hi back. And then the 5-year-old was like, no. It was wild to me. Like, Ruben goes around and waves at people and then they don't wave back. Wave at the baby. I hope Ruben doesn't become that way after waving at people and them not waving back so much, you know? But back to the theme park, the only people that talked to us at the theme park were other foreign people. Like, we were in line for this one ride and they were probably from either like Malaysia, maybe possibly Singapore. We're gonna go with Malaysia now. It could not be if these people somehow see this video, which I highly doubt. But it was a couple and they had 2 kids and they looked like they were maybe 2 years older than Luna and Ruben. And they were a boy and a girl. And so the mom was like, oh my God, twins? You know, you have a boy and a girl twins? We have a boy and a girl twins too. And then she was so excited. She's like, oh my God. And then we just started talking. And then later on in the theme park, we happened to pass one another and she's like, hey. Like, they were tourists, but just that sort of friendliness you don't get, and it's sad. I don't know, you can tell I'm getting like really worked up on it, but I think throughout their day when you meet people who just smile and take a genuine interest in something that you have that's the same, like even just people saying, I really like your shoes, I really like your purse, I really like your outfit, I really like your hair. Like, those sort of things are really nice things to just have between people in society, and we didn't got that here. The next thing that I miss is equality amongst family members. What I mean is, in Korea, there's something called 서열 문화, and that is rank culture. So 서열, it means rank. So in the family, the elders are high ranked, so everybody has to respect them no matter what. Even if they do something shady, if you call them out on it, you can't do that because I'm older than you, basically. I don't have to respect you or your boundaries in any way, shape, or form. Now, as someone who comes from a society where everyone's equal, it makes it very difficult to make relationships. And it's not just me, it's even Korean people have a hard time having full relationships with their parents because they have this we're always going to be above you sort of mentality. So Korean people actually think it's weird when they see us with our families, like Western people, and we're just talking, joking, having a good time. I have yet to meet a Korean person who has gone with their foreign partner's family and seen them joking and playing around who didn't say, wow, you guys are friends, this is weird. My in-laws included, when they see me and my family together, like when we did the Korean in-laws come to the black barbecue video, every time they see like me and my family, my mom-in-law always says, wow, it's crazy, you guys are like actually friends. No wonder you seem to be so bored when you're with us. Because when you're in a Korean family, it's like everything just surrounds what the old people want. And then if you break out from that, you're being a bad son or daughter or whatever, you can't really have genuine, deep relationships with that. So a lot of the family relationships are just based on title alone, right? People don't actually enjoy being around each other. We don't actually have good talks, have a good time together. It's like sort of a forced relationship, all in the name of we're family and this is your role and this is your rank. And I think that that's really sad because one of the reasons why people are so like sad and depressed is because they don't have those deep relationships. And I didn't really attribute it to that until this video actually came out yesterday. There's a YouTube channel I really like. It's called Kim Chakka TV, and he's just a Korean guy and he has people on, you know, psychologists or lawyers, and just talks about certain issues in Korean society. And so he had a video he just uploaded yesterday actually, and it's called 평균 한국 사회의 숨겨진 어둠. Let me just translate it for you. The darkness that's hidden between the mentally sick Korean society. So the biggest thing that this guy was talking about was the fact that there's no real true love in Korea. And one thing that he says is in a lot of the situations, people feel like love is some sort of transaction, right? You give me this, so I give you this. And when you think about it, basically, it is kind of like that, except I think the transaction is all mental. If I'm feeling sad, then I come to you, you comfort me. You feel sad, I comfort you. Like, it's sort of a mental transaction, right? But the transaction that he's talking about in Korea is more like, what can you do for me? And that keeps people from feeling just genuinely loved and respected. And the one thing that he says is lacking is just genuine love of people. You're my person, so I like you. That's it, right? It's not like, oh, you can't do this for me anymore. Okay, I don't really like you anymore. I really enjoyed this video. If you speak Korean, you might enjoy it too. But One of the things that he does mention in this video is the ranking hierarchy, and that is also one of the things that keeps people from having good relationships. He says good, loving relationships have to be equal. You can't be like, okay, well, I'm here, I'm above you. You have to respect me, but I don't have to respect you. You know, obviously, you can't really have a good, deep, genuine relationship like that, right? Another thing that he mentions in the video is just the lack of self-esteem that people has. And he says, when you have low self-esteem and you're so worried and concerned about yourself, it's really hard for you to have true love because you tend to do stuff for people because you wish that they would love you back. I just think overall, a lot of people don't really learn how to have good, genuine relationships. And it's mainly based on you do this, I do that. You do this, I do that. If you're like this, then you can be my friend. If not, then you can't. And it's sort of missing just that human compassion aspect of stuff. That was kind of a tangent. But rankings within family makes it almost impossible to have deep, meaningful relationships with those people. And not just within family, amongst friends as well. Like in Korea, even if someone's just 1 year older than you, just 1 year, then you have to call them oppa or nuna or 언니 or hyung, and then there's a certain way that you have to act toward them, even just 1 freaking year. And they might sort of want to impose what they think on you and whatnot. But anyway, the hierarchy system has just effed up all the relationships, basically. The next one, which kind of is implied in the previous one, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I have other stuff to say about it, is I really miss being able to have just deep talks with people. It is very hard to find people in Korea who you can sit down and just have a deep talk about stuff with. For a lot of people, opening up and sharing their true selves is something that's very difficult to do because a lot of people here fear that they won't be liked. If I open up and show my real self, people are not gonna like me or they're gonna judge me because there is so much judging going on here. And it's not just me, but even a lot of Korean people who've moved out of the country feel that way too. There's a video I shared a while ago from this guy named Daniel, who's a Korean guy, but he lived like in the States or Canada or something for 8 years. And so he made a video on the differences between Koreans and, you know, other people. And one of the biggest things that he said he noticed was the judgmentalness. When they see someone, they determine if this person is worthy of respect or not, or if they are, you know, successful or not, just based on sort of the physical things. And there's a lot of judging happening. Whereas he said, you know, we're a bit more free. Like if there's something that you like to do, you can pursue your passion and that's fine. Whereas here, not so much. If the thing that you're passionate about and want to do is not one of the things that people deem to be successful or good in society, then you do receive criticism for it. People will tell you to dream higher, or what are you doing, or you're wasting your life, kind of thing, if you just want to do something simple like being a taxi driver. I know someone here who was like, you know what? I just want to drive taxis. I love driving. That's it. Like, I don't need to have expensive stuff. But then their family was like, no, how dare you waste your life? And it was this huge thing. Whereas with us, like, if you did say, you know, I just want to be a taxi driver, I feel like your parents could be a bit disappointed, right? Maybe they wish that you had done more, but I feel like people respect you when you say you want to do that. Whereas here, people will judge you. So there are some people who are even afraid to say what kind of jobs they have or whatever, if it's not something that people deem to be, you know, high up. But not only do they do that with your jobs and whatnot, but they do it when you're sharing certain feelings about certain things. So if you really do open up with someone and decide to share, oftentimes their reply shuts you back down. And that's because a lot of the times they're judging whether or not that feeling is valid or not, as opposed to saying, oh, okay, you feel that way. I can see that. And then asking you about it and cheering you up and making you feel better about it. People here like to say, don't feel like that. That's unnecessary. Or that doesn't make sense. You have a good job. You have this. Why are you saying you're unhappy? If you do open up and someone does want to comfort you, I feel like people really don't know how to comfort you or how to cheer people up. They tend to become awkward about it. And they're like, oh, God, someone's just exposed their hearts to me. What do I do? So I think a lot of people learn, you know, even if I do share the things that are in my heart with people, like we don't have a good conversation about it. Nobody cheers me up. So what's the point? So as a Western foreigner, I've had so many people over the years tell me that I'm the only person they can open up and talk to. And other foreign people that I've talked to too have had those Korean friends who are like, wow, you're the only one I could like open up and talk to. Because we don't have that judgmental culture around people opening up and sharing what's on their heart. We see it as a positive thing. Like, oh, you open up to me, you must really feel comfortable with me. So we always want to make sure that we help comfort and support that person, right? I mentioned it before, but I've even had people get mad. Like if I open up like, oh, you know, I'm dealing with this and it sucks. They're like, I got my own stuff I'm dealing with. Don't put that on me. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So I also even find myself opening up less and less here. And then another thing that sort of makes you not want to open up to people is because people tend to be overly concerned with what you're doing. And this one, I'm having such a hard time to like put into words because in Korean it makes so much sense. Let me just look it up and see what it says in the dictionary. Kansup, telling people what they should do. You should do this, you should do that. Lose weight. Your nose is too big. Your eyes, you should get eye surgery or whatever. Like telling people what to do. So intruding in people's life, meddling in people's lives. That's a good one. Meddling. Okay, let's call it meddling. Kansup. In Korea, there's a lot of meddling in people's lives, but there's no actual 유대감, which is intimacy. Fellowship, we could say fellowship. So people meddle in your lives, but there's no real bonding. Oh, you've gained some weight. You should lose weight. You shouldn't eat that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And they're like very overly concerned with what other people are doing. And it drives me insane. I'm like, just focus on what you're doing, okay? Let me just do what I'm doing. And when you have a system where people are meddling in each other's lives, but they don't actually take the time to talk to you and ask you what you think and what's really on your mind, you start to feel like sort of squished and like smothered, suffocated. But then you feel like people don't actually see you and know you, if that makes sense. I'm telling you, it's so interesting to me that people will first meet you and like tell you that you're fat or something, but they will not open up and tell you what they need or like share themselves with you. It is wild to me. Those sort of rude, meddling, intrusive comments, yes, you can do it, but don't say that you're sad or you had a bad day and why you had a bad day. Don't open up, but just tell everybody the things that they need to fix about themselves. Like that's kind of the vibe that's here sometimes. And that makes it very difficult to have good relationships with people because you also feel like people are just trying to change you so much. Now, of course, I think good, deep relationships require people to be growing together. And in my opinion, the best relationships are the ones where you have those deep talks and you sort of grow together. You become better people together. Because here everybody is so meddling, if you do have to actually open up and talk to someone about something like an issue that you're having in the relationship, etc., sometimes they don't really take it that well. They just sort of take it as just concept, just meddling, because everybody's just always telling you to do this, do that, do this, do that all day. It's like nobody want to hear that, right? So that is all that I have for you guys today, or all I can think of right now. I'm sure that there are more, but that's all I can think of right now. If there's some video topics that you want me to talk about or things that you wonder about life in Korea, etc., then feel free to ask down below. If you do live here in Korea and you have some things that you want to share, then let me know down below. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe to my YouTube page, which is down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, like me on Facebook, and I will see